Mercury is not really diplomatic, let's say, in Virgo. It is what it is, and Mercury will name it. And you may like it, or you may not. Oh well, too bad. We've got some help though from Venus and Jupiter. So Venus is trining Jupiter, and my first thought when I saw this was, is there gonna be a happy ending? Good morning, my loves, welcome back. So it's Sunday and we are looking at the week ahead. What is this coming week going to have in store for us? Well, let's find out. Now on the 9th, which is Monday, the 9th of September, we have Mercury moving back, and by back, of course, it's moving forward, but back into Virgo, where it started its retrograde cycle. So Mercury is still in its shadow phase. Yes, it is direct, moving forward again, but still in shadow until it reaches 4 degrees of Virgo. And something interesting is going to happen in 4 degrees of Virgo, by the way, but we will get to that later. Now, Mercury in Virgo is super strong, right? Mercury rules Virgo. Mercury knows what he's doing, right? Like he's in his element. And by he, I mean it, the energy, whatever we want to call it, right? So Mercury in Virgo is very particular, very diligent. It dissects things. It looks at everything and it decides if it wants to throw it away or keep it. Mercury can come across a little harsh also in Virgo. Mercury is not really diplomatic, let's say, in Virgo. It is what it is, and Mercury will name it. And you may like it, or you may not. Oh well, too bad. That's what Mercury thinks. Mercury tells you how it is. And I think we'll all, after this retrograde, we'll all go through this process of like, oh God, now we have to tell the truth. And I'm not talking about the truth as in I kept the secret and now I have to tell the truth. More in the sense of like, it's time to be direct and say what I really want and not hold back too much. Then also on the same day, the moon is opposing Uranus. Now, I know I don't really talk about the moon in these weekly forecasts because the moon moves so fast and makes so many different aspects. But I think this one is important because Uranus, it just started its retrograde cycle. So Uranus is in retrograde now. And I think it's because we're talking about worth and value here, right? The moon in Scorpio, always going a little deeper. And then Uranus in Taurus says, okay, what do we really want? What do we really stand for? What is truly important to us? How do we free ourselves from the shackles? Where are the shackles? What are the shackles? Why am I still carrying the shackles? The moon is diving deep, helping us, trying to figure that out. So there might be some insight on that day. Also, like I said, Mercury is moving moving into Virgo. And in Virgo, Mercury is like, okay, this, yes, this, no, next. Okay, we keep this, no, this gotta go, this gotta go, this gotta go. Okay, we keep this. So this kind of goes together. They all work with each other, all these energies are working together. Then on the 11th, we have Mercury in Virgo sextiling Mars. So that was what I was talking about before. Mercury in 4 degrees of, this is an aspect that is lasting. So they move together from 3 to 4 degrees, Mars and Mercury. So Mercury was stationing retrograde in 4 degrees. Now it's sextiling Mars. Oh, I love this so much. Sextiling Mars, which is our drive and our power. It's telling us, okay, we are ready to move forward. What have we learned? Now we take this and move forward. Remember though, Mars is in Cancer. Mars in Cancer is a little moody. Mars in Cancer is a little, oh, I don't know. Do I want this? Do I want that? My emotions, I'm all over the place with this. So you gotta be aware of that. But generally, this is a really beautiful aspect that is very, very productive. And I think Mercury can really help Mars here to get out of that moodiness, you know, because Mercury in Virgo is very clear. There's a lot of clarity here because Mercury is dissecting and takes away everything that isn't necessary. That can help Mars to see more clearly and to move forward without being in this fog of like emotionality, emotions, overly emotional. So I think this is a beautiful aspect. Then also on the same day, the 12th, Venus is in a quincunx with Saturn. I'm talking about this because we just came out of that square. Remember, we had the square between Venus and Saturn at the end of August. Now Venus kind of recouped a little. That was really tough for her. But she is, she's putting herself back together and, clearing her head. Now she's meeting Saturn in this quincunx, and it's kind of like a testing ground, right? Where's she at when it comes to standing in her worth and value? And I think this is still Venus, but also Saturn. They're both trying to get their point across to each other, but it's difficult. It is difficult because we are so different. Like if we look at this from a relational perspective, right? In a relationship, we are trying to work through our differences. What we have to learn here, what we have to understand with the quincunx is that you gotta let the other be. You don't have to understand everything they do. That is what the quincunx quintessentially tells us. You don't have to understand all. Can you just let them be? Of course, if that means your values are not matching and you cannot move forward, then this is a little, you have to find other ways to deal with this, if you know what I mean. But generally, this is about accepting self and other, accepting that this is me, this is what I like, this was what I want, this was what I think makes the world go round, and this is what they think. Can we still grow together? This is acceptance in relationships, and it's not going to come easy. But this is not something you can really work out as in, you got to do the inner work, they got to do their inner work, and then you'll come together. This is just an acceptance. You got to accept certain things in life. And, we can accept them in one way and the other, right? If we are in a relationship and, we want to grow together, go forward together, you got to accept the other in that way. We can't just hope, I hope they change. Can I change them? Why do they like this? You got to accept it, or you part ways. This is generally not an aspect that is volatile. Though it can be, but generally I wouldn't say this is a volatile aspect. This is just an aspect that it's so annoying that they are like that. And we can't change it. So now we have to find the acceptance within us. Again, I think for this one, all I would say is like, you got to make sure your values and your boundaries are still intact by accepting whatever needs to be accepted. Then on the same day, we have again the moon in an aspect. The moon is opposing Jupiter. The moon in Sagittarius opposing Jupiter in Gemini. Now, the way I see this, and again, I'm talking about the moon here, which I usually don't do because somehow the moon felt really important to me this week, probably because we are moving towards the eclipses, right? I think that's what, I was like, we gotta talk about the moon here because the moon is getting ready to eclipse, right? There's gotta be a lunar eclipse. So the moon in Sag is a moon that is very flamboyant, right? Big dreams, everything is bigger than life. And it meets Jupiter, big Jupiter, on the other side. Now this can be, if we find the balance, this can be a marriage of equals. It can be, and by equals I don't mean we are the same, but equals on both ends of the spectrum. right? On both ends of the spectrum, we are equals now. And can we come together, or are we gonna do the sparring? That may or may not be helpful. So we both have big dreams, but we are looking at those dreams from a different perspective, right? We are coming from the other side. But how can that fuel both of us? How can that help us? How can we bring that together? Remember that the opposition is a Saturnian energy. Something's gotta give with Saturn. That's what I always say. Something's gotta give. Doesn't mean you gotta give up that dream or that ideal or that whatever that is. But something's gotta give so we can, merge in a way, right? Come together. I think this is a really beautiful aspect, actually. I love this. I think this aspect is going to have to do with the bigger vision that we have for life and where we are at right now in our circle. Is our circle serving us? How is our circle holding us back, right? Our circle as in our social circle, the social norms that we grew up with, right? Maybe some inner child work necessary here, right? Like we get reminded that maybe what we grew up with, how we grew up, isn't serving us to move forward. Maybe we gotta adjust something there. Doesn't mean that our upbringing was bad, but maybe it's not serving us in moving forward, growing, evolving as an individual. Then on the 12th is a big day, we have the Sun square Jupiter. Now, this is an aspect that I don't think it's a bad aspect. I know we're talking about a square Martian energy, but we have Jupiter involved here. The only thing I would say here is like, keep your ego in check. Don't go overboard. Don't push the boundary too much. Go to the boundary, right? Go there. Go to the limit, but don't go over the limit. See what's there and see how you can expand there without going overboard, right? What can you do? What can you implement? How can you grow? Because this is a growth aspect. This week is asking us to take a good look at the vision we have for our life. Where are we moving towards? What are we growing into? And remember, the Sun is the guiding light. So how do you use your guiding light wisely for your growth, for your evolution? Then on the 14th and 15th, let's start with the 14th. We have the Moon conjunct Pluto. Again, the Moon. We're talking about the Moon a lot this week. This is important. This is really, really important because this is one of the last times the Moon will conjunct Pluto in our lifetime in Capricorn. So this is a biggie. Big. I think we have to really look at structures and the foundation that we built our life up on. Like, I think emotionally, remember the Moon is our emotional capacity to process things, but also it is our unconscious mind and our conditioning. So when that part of us meets Pluto in Capricorn, that wants to restructure because it wants to grow, right? Soul's potential. Pluto, the soul's potential, wants to grow. So now Pluto is like, okay, Moon, what do you need to leave behind? Where do we still have to decondition? So the Moon is going through deconditioning. It's us understanding, okay, well, I think this needs to go because I want to go there and I can't take it with me because it's too heavy. It's pulling me back. It's constantly pulling me back. You see the theme of this week, right? It's very clear, the theme of this week. Then also on the 14th and the 15th, we have Mars squaring the nodes and Venus trining Jupiter. Now this is, again, theme of the week. Mars squaring the nodes. Where am I going? How am I pushing forward? It's the moodiness that really, really gets to us here, right? The moody Mars that just wants to push and say, I'll do it anyways. I don't care about whatever. But the past and the future are saying, wait, what are you doing? Think again, think again. Don't just act from an emotional place. Make sure you're doing the quote-unquote right thing, right? Where are you moving to? What are you moving into? You are kind of like squaring the past and squaring the future. So you're in this space of, which way am I going? That's the feeling that Mars has. I just gonna go. But the notes are saying, okay, move wisely. And that's going to be the challenge here this weekend, the weekend of the 14th and 15th. We've got some help though from Venus and Jupiter, which I'm very happy about, So Venus is trining Jupiter, and my first thought when I saw this was, is there going to be a happy ending? I cannot give you that answer. You have to answer that for yourself. Because only you know what that would mean and what that would entail within all the details. Remember, Mercury in Virgo, have you looked at the details? Mars is still confused. Venus really wants to live bigger. Jupiter says, yes, let's do it. But Mars is like, ooh. And Mercury in Virgo is saying, okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this. How does it look on paper? Let's write it down. Let's dissect it. So is there going to be a happy ending? I guess you will find out soon, because the eclipses are coming. Next week, we are going to talk about the eclipse. I probably by that time will already have the eclipse video out. The first eclipse, the eclipse in Pisces. But yeah, until then, I hope you are having a beautiful week, and get ready, my loves. We are entering uncharted water again. All right. If you have any questions about this week, feel free to ask down in the comment section. If you want a personal reading, click on the link in the description box and book your reading there. Anything else, ask away, and I'll see you in the next video.